Trump just got caught doing something absolutely despicable. He's been systematically erasing black history from national parks across America. Not just any history, the history of slavery, the evidence of what actually happened to enslaved people. And they thought nobody would notice. Trump's administration ordered the removal of one of the most famous photographs documenting slavery's brutality from a national park. It's called the Scourged Back. Taken in 1863, it shows Peter Gordon, an enslaved man who escaped from a Louisiana plantation and joined the Union Army to fight for freedom. His back is covered in thick keloid scars from brutal whippings. When this photograph was published in Harper's Weekly during the Civil War, it shocked Northern audiences who had never seen visual proof of slavery's violence. It galvanized the abolitionist movement. It helped end slavery, and Trump ordered it banned from Fort Pulaski National Monument in Georgia, removed and erased. But it gets worse, because this photograph is just one piece of Trump's systematic campaign to erase black history from federal property. They're removing educational materials from the site of John Brown's anti-slavery raid. They're threatening to dismantle exhibits honoring the 9 people George Washington kept enslaved in Philadelphia. They're erasing the history of black soldiers and enslaved people who fought for this country. And they're doing it all under an executive order with the most Orwellian title imaginable: Restoring Truth and Sanity to American History. Because apparently, telling the truth about slavery is insane, and documenting what actually happened to black Americans needs to be hidden from the public. That's not me being hyperbolic. Trump's own order classified teaching about slavery as corrosive ideology that must be removed from federal land. This was systematic. Trump's March 27th executive order directed the Interior Department to ensure all sites focus on the greatness of achievements, while removing materials that disparage Americans or reflect corrosive ideology. What's corrosive? Acknowledging slavery existed, documenting brutality, teaching that founding fathers owned people. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum's May 20th directive ordered parks to remove content that disproportionately emphasizes negative aspects of U.S. history. At Harper's Ferry, where John Brown raided to arm enslaved people, how do you tell that story without emphasizing why it was necessary? You can't. That's the point. Trump's administration isn't asking for balance. They're demanding sanitization. At Harper's Ferry, staff flagged over 30 signs for removal, signs referencing racial discrimination and white hostility toward formerly enslaved people. At an anti-slavery rebellion site, Trump's administration wanted to erase why the rebellion was necessary. Park employees called it government-mandated historical amnesia. The ACLU condemned it as the work of propagandists, not public servants. But the most significant target was Philadelphia's President's House. The site sits at 6th and Market, directly in front of the Liberty Bell. It marks where Washington and Adams lived when Philadelphia was capital, where George Washington enslaved 9 people. For decades, the Park Service ignored this. Tourists visiting the Liberty Bell had no idea slavery existed feet away. That changed in 2010 after the Avenging the Ancestors Coalition fought for truth. The memorial includes names etched in stone: Austin, Christopher Shields, Giles, Hercules, Joe, Moll, Oney Judge, Paris, Richmond. The exhibit explains how Washington deliberately rotated enslaved people out of Philadelphia every 6 months. Pennsylvania's Gradual Abolition Act said if enslaved people remained 6 months, they could petition for freedom. Washington literally drove them across state lines to reset the clock. One panel, The Dirty Business of Slavery, discusses the slave trade. Another explains life under slavery. A third discusses escapes by Oney Judge and Hercules. Documented, verified facts. Trump's administration flagged all of it. In July 2025, 13 items across 6 displays were identified for review, all 13 about slavery. By September, reports confirmed plans to substantially alter the exhibit. Remove anything making founding fathers look bad. Anything telling black people's stories instead of centering white figures. The reaction was fierce. At a September 13th rally, Michael Cord addressed 100 people. Can you be a great human being when you hold 316 fellow human beings in brutal bondage? This is one man's warped view and an attempt to deny undeniable American history. 45 historical organizations signed a letter calling it un-American. Visit Philadelphia announced they'd preserve removed exhibits in private locations. City Council unanimously condemned Trump's whitewashing. Even the lone Republican supported it. On September 19th, Burgum visited Independence Park. Activists organized a silent protest. 70 people stood silent for 9 minutes, one for each enslaved person. Olaniyan Adefumi, a retired teacher, stood tearful near the wall. I need to memorize their names. Burgum refused to meet with them. This is happening as America prepares its 250th anniversary in 2026. Philadelphia will be central. Millions will visit. Trump wants them seeing a version where slavery barely existed, where founding fathers' complicity is erased, where Black American stories are too negative to tell. Trump made his views clear in August on Truth Social, attacking the Smithsonian. The Smithsonian is out of control, where everything discussed is how horrible our country is, how bad slavery was, nothing about success, nothing about brightness. Trump is complaining museums discuss how bad slavery was. This is the same man who ordered Confederate monuments restored while removing memorial panels honoring Black World War II soldiers, who banned Black History Month at Defense, who ordered deletion of 26,000 images, including Tuskegee Airmen photos, who stripped Black generals' names from bases. The pattern is clear. Black achievement? Erase it. Black suffering? Deny it. Black history? Censor it. Confederate symbols? Restore them. In a September House hearing, Representative Jared Huffman questioned Mike Caldwell about the Scourged Back. Caldwell refused to confirm if it remained on display. Representative Joe Neguse pressed harder. Are you telling us this photo wasn't taken down? Because I've seen nothing saying it wasn't. Caldwell still refused to answer. If the photograph wasn't removed, why not say so? The Sierra Club reported over 1,000 items flagged across the park system, most about slavery, Native American history, LGBTQ history, or climate change. The goal is clear: sanitize history. Remove anything challenging white supremacist narratives. The Association for the Study of African American Life and History said, these are veiled attempts to rewrite history by removing any mention of racist actions that shaped America. The American Historical Association condemned it. History is not propaganda. It is not a tool for instilling patriotism. Nicolay Hannah-Jones pointed out the contradiction. Trump claims these exhibits are propaganda, but sanitized history ignoring slavery's brutality is actual propaganda. Great countries don't hide from their history. In Philadelphia, the Avenging the Ancestors Coalition continues organizing. Town halls, Freedom of Information Act requests, coalition building. Visit Philadelphia committed to preserving removed content where Trump's censorship can't reach. Michael Cord said, we thought the battle was over, but it wasn't over. It was never over. He's right. In the 1960s, Black Americans fought to have their history taught. In the 2000s, they fought to have slavery acknowledged at historic sites. Now they're fighting to keep progress from being erased by Trump's racist administration. This isn't about protecting children or ensuring balance. This is about white supremacy. Full stop. Trump's administration isn't concerned exhibits lack context. They're concerned they make white Americans uncomfortable. That acknowledging racist past might expose racist present. That understanding how slavery created generational wealth for whites and poverty for blacks might lead to policies addressing that inequality. They're removing the Scourged Back, not because it's inaccurate, but because it's undeniable. You cannot see those scars and believe the lie that enslavers treated enslaved people well. That photograph forces viewers to confront reality. Trump's administration cannot tolerate reality. Trump's racist administration can remove signs, but they cannot erase truth. The truth exists in records, archaeological evidence, descendants' experiences, and collective memory. They can remove the Scourged Back from Fort Pulaski, but it still exists in museums and books. They can alter President's House exhibits, but the names are still carved in stone. Austin, Christopher Shields, Giles, Hercules, Joe, Moll, Oney Judge, Paris, Richmond. Those names cannot be erased without destroying the memorial. Trump's racist administration can censor federal property, but they cannot control private institutions, state parks, museums, universities, or Americans who refuse to let history be erased. The fight over slavery exhibits is about who tells America's story. Whether we face history honestly or hide, whether enslaved people's experiences matter as much as their enslavers' reputations. Trump's administration chose erasure, chose white comfort over truth, chose censoring black voices over amplifying them. But they're going to lose, because truth survives censorship, because historians refuse silence, because activists refuse to quit, because descendants of enslaved people refuse to let their ancestors be forgotten. Peter Gordon's Scourged Back will continue shocking viewers. The 9 people Washington enslaved will continue being told. John Brown's raid will continue inspiring. Trump's racist administration can remove exhibits from federal property, but they cannot remove truth from history, cannot erase that slavery happened, cannot undo evidence of its brutality, cannot silence voices demanding America face its past honestly. National parks are supposed to preserve truth, not propaganda. Educate, not indoctrinate. Trump's administration has abandoned those principles, but the American people haven't. The fight continues. In Philadelphia, activists organizing. In West Virginia, historians documenting. In Georgia, educators teaching. Americans demanding that national parks tell truth about slavery, no matter how uncomfortable. Because great countries don't hide from history. They learn from it, confront it, use that knowledge to build a better future. Trump's racist administration chose erasure, but America deserves truth, and eventually, truth wins.